I want to begin by sharing my personal experience using AO scan technology. And I want to start by saying I'm not a medical professional. The AO scan is not a medical device. It does not cure, treat, or diagnose, and you should always discuss with your medical doctor. So this video is for informational and educational purposes only. So about a year ago, I would say it was about a year ago, I began to feel tired, like much more tired than normal. Like everybody, I've got stuff going on in my life. Life is pretty busy. But it was something I couldn't quite put my finger on it. And so I decided to go see my doctor, and I brought it up during, a routine checkup. And so he sent me for various tests and, of course, blood work, and all my blood work came back within range. So when I started to explore my blood work, I would see that my numbers were like at the polar opposite of one another. Like nothing was ever optimal or close to optimal. Like if it was a 1, I was like a 1.5 or a 2. And so this kind of raised some yellow red flags for me and gave me some cause for concern. And so at that point, I had been exercising moderately, eating well. Primarily, we eat whole foods. Like I'm in the wellness industry, so I know what to do. But I wasn't feeling good, and I found that I wanted to go to bed some nights at 6:30, and getting up for me was virtually impossible. I couldn't get up with my husband. I was lethargic, not to mention that I wasn't sleeping. So what I did initially was I began scanning myself, and I created a Word document, and I started tracking all the areas that had a large component that were out of range, because remember, we're working with frequencies. It's not a diagnostic. We're working with energy, right? The frequencies of healthy cells and tissues and what is being compared to, analyzed, and given a report. And much of mine was out of range. So I was documenting, I was seeing areas that were like majorly out of range, and I started to get concerned. So I began to listen to the audio files that came with my reports and making some adjustments based on the food sensitivity segment and incorporating some supplements here and there. But I really didn't make any other significant changes in my health. But what consistently showed up on my scans was cardiovascular, inflammation, hormones, and my reproductive system. I didn't have any symptoms except for the odd flutter in my chest. I could feel like some heart palpitations. And I remember years earlier that my doctor back home in Canada had said that, he had given me a term. And he said that there was nothing to worry about, and we didn't need to do any further digging, so to speak. So what I did after finding these scans consistently showing up in these areas was I booked an appointment with my OBGYN, and I had just been in there a few months earlier, and she says, like, I don't really think there's anything to be concerned about. You're otherwise healthy. Your blood work always shows that you're healthy. You're always within range. But what can I do for you? I said, well, I would like to have an ultrasound. So she said, okay. Thankfully I'm in the United States right now, so I can get that. And what happened was about 4 to 5 days later, I received a phone call from her office, and it said that I needed to go in for a biopsy. So I have to tell you, I was a little surprised. I did my best not to let my mind, carry me away. I went in for a biopsy, and the biopsy came back normal, and I'm being monitored, but I didn't have any symptoms. And had it not been for my AO scans, I would never have known that I needed a biopsy. The next thing I did was I booked an appointment with a cardiologist, because my cardiovascular segment showed many, many things out of range. And so that was a little concerning for me, considering that what happened with my reproductive system was confirmed. So I went in to see this cardiologist. He did some diagnostics, And he came back and it was confirmed. What was on my scans was confirmed through this cardiologist. So again, no cause for concern, but the scans did pick that up. And now I'm going to throw my husband under the bus. Sorry, honey. But his prostate, testosterone, and a few other things kept consistently showing out of range, only to be confirmed by his urologist. He's fine. So the next step I took was to pay closer attention to the ways to improve my frequency statistics. And this is where there's some suggestions about natural health supplements and therapies and things that you can do. And I really, really started tracking from my inner voice report and my body systems report. And there was a common denominator. There were a lot of overlaps. And so I began to implement that. And because I also sell natural health supplements, I mean, we've got an arsenal of them in our kitchen. And I did order a few extras, and then I ordered some of the products through Solex. And I began, I would say, consistently over a month and a half to 2 months to pay attention to my scans, to listen to those ways to manage and incorporate those products. There were a few other things that I did that I know as a wellness practitioner, some liver work, some lymph work, breath work, ways to improve my nitric oxide levels. And I can tell you today, honestly, I feel great. I feel great. Where my blood panel was coming out like numbers like 46% from ideal, today it was 19% from ideal. All my reports are shifting. And even that 5 to 10 pounds that I couldn't lose, that I was trying and trying, and my hormone panel always showed that, things were out of range. My hormone panel is regulating. The numbers have vastly improved. And miraculously, the weight has just fallen off me. So I can personally say that if it wasn't for AOScan technology, I wouldn't have gone in this direction and wouldn't have known to check this out. I can't speak for anyone else, but this technology has been transformative for me and my family. And I'm really excited to see that wellness clinics and integrative medical doctors and chiropractors and practitioners are using this technology, because I personally feel that it is so beneficial. So if you're someone who's looking for root cause versus symptom, this definitely might be something that you're going to want to check out. Thanks for being here.